This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. Introducing the all-new, all-terrain Honda Passport Trail Sport, the most off-road capable Honda Passport Honda has ever dreamt up. The Passport features increased ground clearance, roof rails on all trims, and available specially developed all-terrain tires. And you'll stay comfortable with tri-zone climate control and available features like heated and ventilated front seats and a panoramic moonroof. Learn more at honda.com/passport.
Hello. Hi. Welcome to another episode of Don't Blame Me, a podcast where we give you wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice. Advice it will change your life. Now, I want people to give us advice that will change our lives. Like, tell me what's going to change my life. One sentence. And don't say like $1 million. Tell me something that like I can actually actively do.
I like that.
You know?
Everyone. Feel free to write in.
Yeah. Or tell us one thing that's changed your life. Can be.
That's not personal.
What do you mean?
Like for us. It's personal for them.
No, like a small change that we could implement.
Okay.
But if it's like win the lottery, I can't control that. And I also don't think that you can say from experience that this was great for you. Because like, did you win the lottery? And if you have, I better see your name on our Patreon and I better see you handwriting in how much money you're giving us per month. Okay? Charity. Support women in STEM.
But that's not like a call out to charity. The
But
person.
Shout out to charity.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you're well. Hope the, well, I actually don't know what the weather's like there now. Every time I just think of the weather, I go, is it warm enough for Charity to be on a yacht?
No.
I don't think so. Not yet.
It's not.
It's chilly here too.
It's like I'm shivering.
Yeah,
and
Melissa was having the white hands and white feet.
Yeah, it was too hot and I was sweating under my tits, and then I just turned it down a little bit to air, and then I got too cold, and I can't find a happy medium.
I will say, well, you actually switched rooms, so I don't know about this room. The old room that we would record in, there was never a happy medium.
No,
it is either you were like you're shaking, full quiver, full body shake, freezing, or you're stripping off your clothes, sweating, fanning yourself.
That's part of the reason why I made that my bedroom now, because now it just be cold.
Yeah, you only need the extremes. By the way, there was a tornado yesterday in Pico Rivera.
I know, that's what I was talking about earlier. When I
you said
it touched down.
I thought you meant the last.
No, there literally was one.
Yesterday.
Yes, that's what I thought we were talking about.
No, I had no idea. And then when I ate lunch, I opened that up and I said, holy fucking shit, I wonder if she knows. And of course, I didn't make the connection of going, clearly she knows. That's what she was talking about. You dipshit. I saw this take that someone had where they were like, you need to like, and people, I know people here who have been guilty of saying that. And I've been like, and I'm sure I've been guilty of saying something where it's like, why would people like live in a place where natural disasters like happen all the time? And like in regards to hurricanes, I've heard people who live in California say that. And I want to be like, with peace and love, you do realize that we are the state that has the most natural disasters. Like, above all, anyone else.
Where are you going to go where there's not a natural disaster?
That's my other fucking question. So I looked it up because this person was saying like, they need to like just move and like leave or whatever. And I was like, genuinely where? Like, and so I think Michigan is one that they're like, no, I'm going to tell you right now, being surrounded by that much water.
Tornadoes there and water and snowstorms. Like that's still.
One of the other ones I said was Minnesota. And I said, okay, are we not counting snow? Like
my cousin I have family that lives there, but my cousin specifically went to University of Michigan because my uncle, he taught there. And she talked about how one day she was walking to class, drinking a Coke, and some of it spilled on her jacket, and it just immediately froze, and she just had to wipe it off. Like, that is not a place that I want to just be out in the snow.
No, but like, I think people view like the worst natural disasters as the ones that like don't happen in the place where they live. So like, for me, I've literally people who are like, I could never do earthquakes. And I go, but you can do tsunamis, like tsunamis or like hurricanes.
My sisters are like, I don't know how you live where there's earthquakes. I'm like, tornadoes touch down there all the time.
Like, it just is like, and people are like, well, it's not that bad. And I go, but that's what we say about ours compared to yours.
But there's way more damage with tornado. Like, I remember when I went home the last time in the summertime, I was just driving down one of the main streets and I was like, what the fuck happened over here? Because there were so many, just like the buildings had been knocked off. And I was like, what happened? They're like, oh, a tornado came through here. And I was like, this is a main fucking street. This isn't like in the country. This is a main street that has so many just like office buildings and things. And y'all are scared, a little earth shaking a little bit. This is way more scary.
And I will say, when we get the big one, you are all welcome to be like, that was terrible. I agree with you. It is impending. We know, as people who live here, we talk about it all the time. As someone who was born and raised here, I have my entire life, people have been going, happening soon. And whenever that happens, you can say, I don't want an earthquake. Totally. Right now, this can't be the thing you're the most afraid of because until the big one comes. But I like looked it up and like, they were like, it's better to be, some people say it's better to be in coastal states, some say better to be in landlocked. And for me, if I'm landlocked, I'm afraid. If I'm by the coast, I'm afraid. I don't think there's a safe place to be who's like Delaware, where it has the least amount. And I go, Delaware also has water, I found out later.
They also have hurricanes.
There's no way that you can be like, there are the least amount of things here. But I'm like, it might just be because it's a smaller surface area, so less things have touched down there. But it doesn't mean that like, they're not passing through or it's not happening. It's just like, also, I do think it's also unfair because they say some of the states that have the worst are California, Florida, and Texas. And I go, I'm sorry, it's not our fault we're big. Like, there's a lot of, we have
Florida's
a lot of.
Florida's not big, but
Florida's bigger than some of the East Coast. Like,
yeah, but they're also surrounded by water on three sides.
And Florida does not look like it's holding on with a lot of security.
No, when I think of Florida, I automatically think of that Looney Tunes sketch when Bugs just takes it's not an axe, a saw, and just saws off the little handle and it falls into the water.
I think of the, what is it called? Like, the end of the world. And then they just like, in Florida, like sinks into the ocean and then California breaks off and hangs out with Hawaii and Alaska.
Which would prefer that? What do you mean hangs out with Alaska and Hawaii? They're not even in the same area.
Well, it's a cartoon.
Okay. So like a map, how it looks on the map.
Yes. No, we break off and then we all float together.
Okay.
It's a comedy cartoon. But yeah, like the size of Florida land area, 65,000 square miles. Delaware, less than 2,000. And I go,
Delaware is small as hell.
No, but when they're comparing it, they're like, would you rather live in Delaware or Florida? I go, okay, I hear you. But again,
if like say like you need to include like all the like Delaware, Maine, like include all of that as the same area.
Because I'm like, yeah, if the eye of the hurricane didn't hit, because it's a very small point, like it's just not, it's not fair. It's not feasible. So anyways, well, we're going to give you advice. And our first advice is appreciate the natural disasters that you have. Because the other ones always sound scarier.
All right. Well, how do they participate and ask for advice?
Good question. You can call in and leave a voicemail at 310-694-0976. You can also leave an audio message and email that to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. And we also have a form where you can submit. That is linked like everywhere. Description, also on podcast socials and stuff. And you can also send us a DM. So if you want to just write it in 300 words, you can also write into that same email address, keep it under 300 words. But for all of them, you have to be 18 or over or have your parents' permission. We do ask that you include your actual age, not just that you're over 18. It is all anonymous, so use fake names. You can let us know your pronouns if you would like, but please give us as much information as possible because we want to give you the best advice. So you can tell us if you're sensitive, but we can only hear the story about how you're painting it. So just remember, just because we might be hanging out with you in your car for multiple hours a week over the course of years, this might be the first time you're calling and the first time we're hearing about this. So
also, if you're like writing and you're like, I can't get this under 300 words, I implore you to look at the words that you're using. Like if you're going, let's call them this, let's call them that. That's taking up words. Just put their name. Just give the name.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you can abbreviate instead of like years old. You can just do the name, parentheses 32.
Yeah. So let's do it. Let's get in there.
I am a 32-year-old female looking for your thoughts about having surgery that changes your appearance. I've just had Botox in my temporal mandibular joint, TMJ, for the first time.
Why did you just bust that out?
Because I know that I used to do this wrong and now it's a passion of mine. A lot of people will be like, I have really bad TMJ. And that just means the joint. Like you want to have it, but you want to call it like temporal mandibular joint like TMJ dysfunction or TMJ issues. But I think if everyone says, if I didn't say that here in my TMJ for the first time, I just want people to know what it stands for. And I had to flex on these hoes.
Yeah, but the thing is, you only flex to me because I can see that it says TMJ and no one else can see that.
Yeah, but now you told them.
That's what a best friend does. Is that I make sure that you get the shine.
You based me up, and now I'm basket tossing it.
Yes. Alley-oop.
Thank you. For the first time, and the relief is insane. But this is step 1 in a process that could end up in me having bimaxillary surgery. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a big surgery, and I've researched medical/recovery stuff about it. It's been recommended due to teeth, jaw, breathing issues, which are having a big impact for me. However, I'm aware it will also have a big impact on how I look. I'm so unsure about how I feel about that. For anyone who doesn't know what bimax surgery is, you can look up the before and afters of someone like Matt Rife. Did he have it? Gross man, best example I can think of. I thought he had a jaw implant.
He did, but he might tell people that's what he had. But Kelsey Dara had this though.
Well, I was gonna say the people I know who've had it, it's not a Matt Rife before and after.
Mm-hmm.
I've never hugely disliked my face. I've also never loved it, and I realize most would consider this as a quote unquote improvement that people get done for purely cosmetic reasons, which is cool. But I feel confused about the notion of changing my face. I'm not sure what my specific question is, but I would love to hear yours and anyone else's general thoughts/experiences. If there's anything you wish you'd thought of before permanently changing your appearance. Thanks so much. You guys are my favorite advice givers and have not led me wrong thus far. I mean, I don't think it's something you should like take lightly, but I'm like of two minds of if you need something done medically, then the results of like how it makes you look aesthetically, whatever's if it's impeding your life so much medically that it will improve the quality of your life tenfold, I think that how it makes you like look or whatever, or changes it to your appearance should be like minute compared to like how it improves the quality of your life. Like it should improve the quality of your life so much that even if like the aesthetic things are not your favorite, that it's like water under, it's like not even compared to how much better. You don't even think about that because you're not worrying about all these other things. And it's like been such a massive improvement. But, I mean, it's like a crazy surgery. And like, if you need it, like go for it. I have been told by doctors that like, it's one of those ones that it's like, if you've exhausted every other option and you are in like excruciating pain all day, every day, and you're having to take like a pretty high dosage of pain medicine, which is not sustainable, then like, this is the next option. But like it's gnarly. It's like a very brutal, intense surgery that like doesn't eliminate pain. Like a lot of people have really bad pain when like weather changes or like inflammation, whatever that is. Like it really is like a last resort. But for some people, it can just be like massive improvement because it's kind of like there's a very clear, obvious issue that's seemingly pretty seamless to fix. But I don't think that you should, the considering the thoughts to your appearance it's a smart thing I do think it's a smart thing to do because like even getting my nose done, I thought I was getting it done purely for aesthetic reasons until I found out it wasn't. I couldn't really breathe. And then it was like, oh, okay, I have to get this done as well. But even when like, you want something done for us, like I remember like looking in the mirror at one point being like, what the fuck did I do? Cause like, I can't really breathe. You're like pretty out of it on pain meds for like, and even the anesthesia, it took like a week for it to leave my body. I was like really out of it. I was so swollen and like, it just felt like forever. Like it felt like there was no way I was going to look like I was ever going to feel better or look better. And like, that's like a daunting thing for something I signed up for, the aesthetic aspects of it. So I think like if it is like the only option, it is like it will change everything. And like, there are very few negative outcomes and it's wonderful and great. Then I think it's like, you just have to be conscious of what it can do for your mental health. But besides that, like, I don't think you should ever value aesthetics over function in anything. Whether that's like changing something to make something more functional or changing something to make something more like aesthetically pleasing. I think function should always be the priority. So if it is really what you need, but I think if there are other options that don't require you to change your face and go through massive surgery, then I think that is where I would go.
I was trying to find, because Kelsey does look different than from before she had hers. And I was trying to find her talking about it, but it seems like it all happened when she was working at BuzzFeed and they've taken the videos down. But I feel like she would have had to talk about it. It's something she talks about openly. So she's probably she has a ton of podcasts. She's probably talked about it on some podcasts. So I would maybe look into that, but I don't have any direct, experience with this, but that's not saying I wouldn't get like a surgery. Like I want to get my eyes under my eyes done. But I'm too scared of needles, so I won't do it. But maybe, who knows, like maybe in the future there might be something that I'll do and I would get hypnotized and I'm not scared of needles anymore.
That one's also a lot of risks at filler under your eye.
But there is that new one where they take like blood from somewhere else.
I was going to say.
And then put it in, and it looks incredible.
PRP,
but like,
I think it's called.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It looks incredible because I was like, oh, what's this? And then I saw what went into it and I said, absolutely not.
It's actually a lot more needles.
Yes.
A bunch of needles.
Yes. But everybody that has that done, it looks incredible.
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen, and they even do that for more pitted acne scarring stuff. And I was like, damn. Yeah. That looks really fucking good. But yeah, I mean, Kelsey's also been open about like, it not fixing everything. Mm-hmm. And so like sometimes
she's had two. So.
Yeah. Like going through surgery to have it
was botched.
To have it not, to have their potential for it being botched, but also to have it not fix everything, to have it like just create more problems. Mm-hmm. Like it's a really massive recovery to have that potential risk there. And I think that's why doctors in general say it like really is it should be viewed as like a last resort, because like if it gets like it getting worse isn't, that's not like the worst thing that could happen. And like, you're like, I could get more surgeries and more surgeries, and more surgeries. But, I'm sometimes like, and it's controversial, I'm sometimes a fan of the Band-Aid option because sometimes like fixing the wound can lead to a lot more. It can lead to like, let's say like an infection, or not in this case, but like using that metaphor, leads to you're bleeding out. There's an infection. There's all these other things. You're opening up a wound in that way versus like just keeping it covered and stopping the bleeding. Sometimes like people be like, well, you're not getting to the root cause. And it's like, yeah, but sometimes there's risk or even just effort put along with that. That's like takes a toll on you physically or mentally. So, I also know someone who's gotten this done and was like, it's the best thing I've ever done. And like, it's so great. They had zero. I mean, I don't know them anymore. So like they might've had issues with it now, but like, it took them like almost 2 years to fully heal, and they like loved it and it was great and it fixed everything and it was wonderful. But they also were really looking forward to the aesthetic looks of it being different. So I think it's less about like how to figure out how to be okay with it and more about why am I not okay with it, or like what's my personal hangups about it, and does that change based on how much I need it? Mm-hmm. Like, does that shift? Because I don't think you should ever have to talk yourself into a really massive surgery that takes a toll on you. So, but if anyone else has had this, like personally has done this, let us know. Because I also know I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm in the minority of people who've been told that I would benefit from this surgery, but like, I'm like not keen on pursuing it like whatsoever. So that could just be me being extremely risk adverse.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll get into some more.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. There are many ways to entice a potential new customer with flashy branding and calculated marketing strategies. But at the end of the day, the success of a business comes down to the ability to close the sale. And for businesses like Thrive Cosmetics, Allbirds, or Skims, it's what goes on behind the scenes, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple that makes the difference. For them and for millions of businesses, that difference is made with Shopify. Businesses that want to grow, grow with Shopify. Because if your goal is growth, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And Shopify will make sure you're ready. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And with Shop Pay, they boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. It's no wonder Shopify is home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/realm. When I was younger, I would help my little sister do her makeup for dance competitions. And while I enjoyed spending that time with her, learning about the different techniques needed to achieve the look, there were pretty strict guidelines for the stage makeup, and not much room for self-expression. I was reminded of those moments recently when I was helping one of my best friends get ready for a party. As a trans woman who came out later in life, she didn't grow up playing with makeup like I had, and we had so much fun picking just the right purples and eye glitter to match her outfit for the evening. What made us both feel beautiful that night wasn't just about the makeup, but how we were committing to showing up as ourselves and encouraging each other to do the same. That's the commitment that Thrive Cosmetics also knows well, with over 10 years of celebrating the strength and beauty of women. And they don't just talk the talk. For every product purchased, Thrive Cosmetics donates products and funds to support important causes, including domestic abuse survivors, veterans, homelessness, and LGBTQ+ communities. I feel proud getting my favorite makeup products from them, knowing that it also positively impacts people and communities I care about. And they really do carry my favorite makeup products. One that I can't get enough of is the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. It's the best mascara I've ever used. It doesn't clump or smudge, and my eyelashes always look dramatically longer thanks to their flake-free tubing formula. Plus, like all of Thrive Cosmetics beauty products, it's certified 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients. So whether it's for yourself, a sister, a friend, celebrate the women in your life with Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/thrive. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/thrive for 20% off your first order.
We are back, and it's time for the next.
Here we go. Hi, Eminem. Everyone in the story is 22. I, female, ended a 5-year relationship with my male best friend over an edgy, racist joke in his Tinder bio. I told him that kind of behavior is repulsive and a deal breaker. He claimed it was ironic. After a week of silence, I asked if he wanted to talk. He didn't. He said he was blindsided that I'd make such a radical decision over dumb shit from the internet instead of judging him by the person I know. He said he needed time to think, which is not a sufficient answer, so I think that's the end. To be clear, I don't regret anything. I'm ashamed I didn't confront him sooner. Smaller signs were there and I ignored them. But now I have to mourn this relationship, which, to be honest, wasn't strictly platonic. I do not know what to do with myself. For the last couple of years, we talked daily and met up weekly. He was the first person I told good news to and the one I leaned on when things were bad. We were both single the whole time, so it got quite relationshipy and not sustainable. I've never had a real boyfriend, just shorter flings and hookups. Next week is my 23rd birthday, and I was supposed to spend it with him. I have amazing girlfriends, but they all have boyfriends, so I don't feel so close to them. How do I move forward? I'm a student doing 2 degrees simultaneously, so I have very little free time, living in a 98% white conservative country. I can understand the end of a close friendship. I've been through it twice, and one of them was because of them being a Trump supporter. So like I get that person that you always call with that good news and they're no longer there. And I will say this, in their cases, distance and time did not make the heart grow fonder. It actually made me dislike them more. I think you just need time, because the more you think about it, especially in the way that this country is going and you being surrounded by those people, it's just going to make things a lot easier for you. It did for me. And then as far as you saying you don't feel as close to your best friends because your girlfriends because they have boyfriends, I don't think that should be in consideration. I mean, me and Megan are super close and she has a fiance, and that doesn't keep us from being close. Like most of my friends are married or in long-term relationships, and that doesn't keep us from being super close. Literally, me and Avia text all day. She's been with her partner for 10 years. I just think that you need to focus on these other friendships, and it will become more apparent that you can be closer to them. It was just that you were spending so much time with him that it was taking away the time that you had with these people, your girlfriends. And like, also because you said things weren't strictly platonic, I don't think this is just a friendship thing. This is also you ending things with the guy that you had a crush on for a long time. And so that's why it just feels harder.
I agree with all that. I was gonna say, I think the thing is that, like, I think a lot of times we can view specifically women in relationships with men as like centering men in their lives. A lot of single people also center men in their lives. And like, I think you're creating this division and separation from you and your friends because like, oh, they have boyfriends and like, I'm single. But you had this guy who was filling that role for you for a long period of time. And I do think situationships or like complicated friendships, I think those require a hell of a lot more brain power than a committed relationship. So I think like you need to give your friends the opportunity to like be there for you and be close to you. And I think if you've blurred the lines of friendship and romance, I can understand why you don't feel as close to these people, because it was checking off 2 boxes. Like it was fulfilling in a way that a friendship is not supposed to be that. And a relationship is also not supposed to be that. Like there needs to be a clear division in those things. Your partner can be one of your closest, like should be one of the people you are closest to. They should not be the only person you're close to. It shouldn't be like the only thing, especially when that's not satisfying for you. Some people, they don't need or want a lot of external relationships, but you clearly do. And so give people that opportunity to show up for you. But yeah, this is hard. It's obviously, I haven't gone through this whatsoever, and I'm also a white woman, but like I've had friendships end over fraught issues that are related to, suffering and religion, race, different things that are played into it. And I'm not the target of the things that people are saying of that, but it's
your ethics.
Yeah, it still fully goes against what I believe in, like my moral code and just like how I'm comfortable with not only me talking about other people, but like the people I'm surrounded with, like talking about other people in a certain way. And there's also a little bit of like shame and embarrassment that comes from, why didn't I see this sooner? Because like you said, like there will be things of, fuck, what was that? And like there are so many reasons it could be. It could be, in my case, this was a thing that I have suffered with from very young age, grew up in a very progressive place. But part of that being growing up in a progressive place is like they don't teach things that are wrong, incorrect, or racist, but they don't tell you about the things that people are saying that are wrong, incorrect, and like, or things that like I just wasn't privy to. And so not knowing those things doesn't help you call out those things. You can't call them out. You can't notice them. You can't pick up on them. And then learning a lot more about this, I'm like, oh, there have been a lot of things that these people have said or done that I didn't know were dog whistles for this, because I didn't know about this. I had no idea what this meant. So that was like a big part for me of like learning those things, to be able to call them out and catch them and have a better ability to do that. So I think there's probably a part of you that's not only feeling like an embarrassment and shame from like you're putting the pieces together, but also like, how could I have romantic feelings for someone like this? And I think you need to just like remove the shame aspect, because shame in general, like it's like the least productive emotion. It doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get you over something. It doesn't get you through something. There's no progress. It's a static, stuck in the sand feeling. It doesn't move you any which way. So I think like moving on from that is giving yourself grace. And if it helps you to separate why you ended this, if it's just like, we're no longer friends, we're not this, he's not a good person, and making it about him and not about you, and not about like, why didn't I see this sooner? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do this? Because you can take any of the things that you've learned from this into the next relationship. You don't need to stew on it at this moment if it's not productive for you. But I think like pursuing other friendships and placing value on those friendships the same way you did on situationships, romantic or whatever, if any of that, and then like really making a conscious decision when you start dating to actually date, to not flirt with a friend, to not like whatever, to like meet someone on, because I also wonder if I'm assuming you saw him on this dating app, and like there might have been a part of you too that was like felt hurt and slighted that he was on a dating app, but like creating that separation so you have time when you're hanging out with your friends and your friends being friends, doing friend things. And then when you're ready to date, going out on a date with someone, not just texting, not just inviting them over, not doing friendship things or situationship things, like really creating a division in that, because I think that would benefit you, because I think, you know, you, like Melissa said, you're mourning both the loss of a friendship and a relationship, situationship kind of thing. And I think that's what makes it a lot more complex.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next one.
I am a bridesmaid for my friend's upcoming wedding. I live one state away from her. That is either a 12-hour drive or a 1.5-hour flight. When I was asked to be a bridesmaid, I told her upfront that I will not be able to attend all of the wedding events, such as the kitchen tea, bridal shower, and the hens, but I will be at least one of them. I also explained that having been a part of other bridal parties before, it will be helpful to know what costs I should expect, but I didn't get a concise answer. Myself and the other bridesmaids are now having a bit of trouble because it's looking like we're going to have to pay for everything, including the hens weekend, hosting the bridal shower, flights, accommodation, dress, hair, makeup, and specific shoes. I try to be as upfront as I can about finances and explain that at other weddings, I've been happy to do my own hair and makeup, which brides haven't had an issue with, especially as they haven't specified specific hairstyles or looks that they wanted from the bridesmaids. Other members of the bridal party have had the same conversation, but the bride doesn't seem to understand that we cannot afford the entirety of what's required for this wedding. I'm happy to pay for basic things such as making sure I can get there, accommodation, and my dress. I've suggested I wear my heels that I've already previously worn, and my sister, who happens to be a bridal makeup artist, could do my makeup. Is there any other way that can be suggested as how to broach the subject again? I've already done the best I can, and it's not only me that's in the situation. The other bridesmaids are feeling a bit awkward too. I don't want to feel like the bride is being ganged up on, but I don't think she seems to appreciate that not only will the whole thing cost me around $2,500, but it's also a total of 5 days of annual leave for the pre-wedding events and the wedding itself. Am I being unreasonable? How else do I go about this?
Hell no, you're not being unreasonable.
$2,500?
I would make a spreadsheet and put every line item of every single thing that you have to pay for. And then also show the time that it takes for everything, including travel. and then send it to her and be like, hey, so I put together my own loose budget. Can you let me know if there's anything I need to add or subtract? And then when she comes back and say, I can't afford this. That's how I'd handle it.
My fear is that she thinks that you guys are paying for her.
Probably.
Because to me, this is like a delusional level of like, money's fine. And I'm like, for who?
Yep.
Because, yeah, I just have a bad feeling that she thinks that this is all being covered for her too. You know, I think like if she's not giving you telling you how much it will cost, I think I like Melissa's idea. And I think the other idea you could do is convene with the bridesmaids and be like, what can everybody pay? And you guys all talk. And then you let her know saying, I can spend this much. And you don't have to talk to their bridesmaids. Like you can talk to them or you cannot, but like you can just say like, I can spend this much. I can spend X amount of money. So let me know, based on what we're doing, I clearly can't make it to everything and do everything. Because here's the thing. If she wanted everyone to be there, you have to make the price point accessible. And like with everybody's budget, you should be able to do everything. If you want everyone there, you can make sure everyone's there based on what you choose and decide to do. If that's the most important thing to you. And then be like, so I won't be able to do everything. Like, let me know what's most important to you and I can be there for those things. And that can be it. Or it can be like, you want me to get my hair and makeup done and pay for that. So like, I won't be able to attend the pre-wedding stuff. And I think like, if she's mad, she's allowed to be mad. Is she correct? No, you're correct. But like everybody, like, I think it's really hard to rationalize with people who are being told constantly that this is the most important day of their life and like they are the center of the universe. They start to believe it.
Yeah, I don't understand how people can be so delusional.
Me neither. And like, I also want, like, part of me wonders, I'm like, is it because like you haven't been on the other side? Or is it that like you feel like this is retribution because you've been on the other side? Like, I have a really hard time understanding the bride perspective in these situations. Because like, if I want like a really expensive vacation, that's my problem.
Right.
Like, then I go with people who can afford a really expensive vacation. But like,
I'm able to provide for everybody to go because at the end of the day, this is my celebration.
Yeah, but it's like, and if I want to do something where I want to spend time with my friends and some of my friends are broke, then I'm covering the cost for that friend, or I'm rain checking with that friend specifically, or I'm doing something we can all afford. Like, it's just like, you can't say I want to have this extremely expensive, luxurious experience and I want everyone I love to be there and I want them to pay for it. It's just, you can't, like, it's a Venn diagram. You have to like pick two. So I think she's being unreasonable, but I think I take back what I said about talking to their bridesmaids first. I don't think you should gang up on her. I don't think you should be like, hey, we all talked and we can't afford this. I think it should be everyone's own individual responsibility because everyone should be able to advocate for themselves and being like, this is how much I can afford. This is how much I can afford. This is how much I can afford. And then if she's the one planning this shit, or if she has a maid of honor who's planning it, you let them know. But, if she's mad, she's mad. But I promise you, it's just like so not worth it to spend the $2,500 to prevent her from being mad because that doesn't guarantee your insurer. Everything goes smoothly and she's not going to be mad about something else, or the relationship is like foolproof.
The last few weddings I've been to, they've always said, hey, I understand that this part is expensive, or like, I understand that we're doing a lot. You don't have to do everything. I'd love to see you there, but you don't have to be there. Even going on the actual bachelorette, like, there's options for what you want to opt into and what you don't want to do. So like, if she can't understand that, that's on her. And if you can't do it, you can't do it. And why should you go into debt and lose out on your actual vacation time to do something for somebody else?
And it won't be reciprocated.
No.
Like, I can't stress that. It won't be. And I do think sometimes the people who do these like really fucking insane asks of their bridal parties and stuff and really expensive, they always end up being the people who have kids first and who can't even come to your wedding. Like, send a gift, like, but like rain check, but like they're on a different timeline. And so it never gets repaid in that same way, which I'm not a fan of like a tit for tat kind of relationship. But like, I think if you're asking me to like bleed out for that and you're being like, I'd do the same for you. If you know that your timing wise means that you are never going to have to do the same for me because you're going to have a kid and it's going to be this whatever, I think it's just a shitty friend move. Also, I would feel so much insane amount of guilt asking people to spend that much money when they've repeatedly told me that that's out of their budget. Mm-hmm. And a friend wouldn't ask you to go into debt for their wedding. Just because they're going into debt for their wedding doesn't mean that everybody else needs to. I do think it's kind of like just the mindset of like they're throwing money away at this thing that's so fucking overpriced that I think in general it makes other people feel better when other people are spending a fuck ton of money. It justifies it. But don't cave. Don't cave. And she needs to reevaluate what her priorities are. And I also I am not a great judge because I quite literally would have been like, hi, with love, are you fucking insane? Like, what?
And I feel like if you can't say that to your friend, that
I think it's crazy to ask someone to spend $2,500 that you couldn't feel comfortable saying that to. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd be like, the fuck? No, like, you have to be kidding me. This is so much fucking money.
And that's why I love my friendship with Meghan, is because I don't have to gauge my own feelings before I have a conversation with her. Because there are other people that I know that I have to have a conversation with myself first, because they take every little thing I say or do so personally. Like I'm coming to attack them.
I can't stand like there's nothing more frustrating to me, and I like have been in those, but like where I have to write out what I'm going to say in the notes app first, and I go, let me edit this a bunch of times because I have to really be careful about choosing my words. This dancing around a friend, and it's like a ticking time bomb. Unfortunately, like this is people really fucking change when they have.
I saw a thing on somebody made a TikTok. I saw this like yesterday, I think, but they said, funny how you spend all this time and money on bachelorette parties and then a year from now you don't even talk to that person. And everybody in the comments was like, why is this such a universal experience?
Well, I also think like it's a really big ask to have people spend that kind of money, and like people don't realize that that's a really big ask, and they view the wedding as like you don't know how much I've sacrificed for this. And it's like, but this isn't for me. Like, this is for you. I did this big sacrifice for you. And then it's never acknowledged in the friendship. And like, it's just kind of like, you know, whatever it is what it is. And yeah, resentment builds from that, because it's like, it's never acknowledged about like how much of sacrifice you made for a friend who then is not being a good friend. And then you already have this resentment of being like, not only are you not being a good friend, like you're not even recognizing how good of a friend I've been at all. And it's just kind of like, and again, it's I think a lot of it is happening, I think right now in general more often because people aren't getting married as young. So then it isn't back-to-back weddings in friend groups usually. Like it's usually like one person gets married first and then maybe there's a couple like later, but like it's not like the back-to-back weddings where it's like you scratch my back, I scratch yours, all of this. And then also you're not having to like budget in the fact of like most people I know who are like really extravagant, they weren't going to weddings. They didn't have a lot of weddings to go to, or they hadn't been even to a lot of weddings prior to that. So it's not like they have to be like, oh, we have to budget within our own yearly budget, not only our wedding, but us going to 5 other weddings and I'm going to 4 other bachelorette parties. Like it's usually not happening like that. So, you know, they don't realize what a sacrifice their friends have made. But don't go. I can't stress that enough.
Well, like go to just the wedding.
Yeah, but don't do all of this stuff, because like if she cannot understand like the strain that this is putting on you, you will, and the friendship will end, because like you will feel so much resentment, like valid resentment towards her.
All right, we're gonna take another break.
When life gets hectic, one of the first things that goes out the window for me is making sure I'm eating well. Deciding what to make for dinner night after night, especially on those busy weekdays, can just take a little bit out of me. I actually had a day like that recently where I was planning on just ordering takeout because I had decision fatigue on top of regular fatigue. And I'm so glad I didn't because it ended up being the same day that my HelloFresh box arrived. I usually get HelloFresh's 15-minute meals because I love how quickly the meals come together, and I made this sausage and tortellini soup with garlic bread. It was so filling and just perfect for a cozy winter eve. And now I have a recipe for a simple and delicious meal that I know I can make quickly and in one pot, and I love being able to reuse these recipes that I get from HelloFresh. They also have new ready-made meals, so you can go from the fridge to your fork in just 3 minutes. It's the same high-quality ingredients and restaurant-quality flavor you expect from HelloFresh, just with none of the work. So I'm stoked to try those out on the days when I want to do even less in the kitchen.
Get up to 10 free meals and a free high-protein item for life at hellofresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast. 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to hellofresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast.
Hey, what's up? It's Wanda Sykes. I'm here to remind you about something super important, getting your breast screened. Because trust me, your breast health should be a priority. Early detection for breast cancer can change the game, which is why you should visit yourattentionplease.com to learn more. And do me a favor, if you've already had a breast cancer screening, remind your friends and family to visit yourattentionplease.com too. We gotta look out for our girls.
Empower. Claire is practicing her breathing for her upcoming yoga retreat in Bali. Has she ever done yoga before? No. But Claire worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Join our 19 million customers today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisor Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Om Namaste.
We are back, and it's time for the next.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I am a 24-year-old girl, and I need help figuring out when and how to have the what are we talk with a guy I'm dating, who is also 24. We met on Hinge and started talking in the middle of January, went on our first date the last week of January, and have been going out consistently on like a weekly basis ever since. Our first 2 dates lasted 6 hours each because we just really hit it off and were talking nonstop. I like him much more than I expected to, considering I decided to start actually going out on dates at the beginning of the year after not dating much in college or post-grad, and mostly just to put myself out there and explore my new city. I moved halfway across the country here last August for grad school. Dating for sport didn't really pan out, though, because I only ended up going on one other first date before meeting him, and haven't really been talking to anyone else since, mostly because I'm busy with school and don't have the time or energy to do so, although now I like him and don't really want to talk to anyone else. He has said some stuff that has vaguely hinted at him not seeing other people, i.e. at my birthday, which was the day after Valentine's. I joked about him not asking me to be his Valentine, and he said, well, who else would it be? But also he has updated his Hinge profile at least once since our first date, which I discovered when showing my friends his profile just to show them who I'm dating. I'm at the point where I feel like I want something concrete, whether it's establishing that we're exclusive or that he's my boyfriend, although I don't really see a difference between the two, but I'm just done being in limbo. And I don't know if it's too early to bring it up or even just how to do it. For more context, my last boyfriend was my senior year of high school, and I don't think we ever had the what are we talk. He was just suddenly my boyfriend. And then the next most serious relationship, with heavy air quotes, been in since was a 2-month situationship my junior year of college, where he asked me to meet his parents, and I didn't because that felt crazy early. And then 2 weeks later, he broke up with me over text saying he wasn't ready for a relationship. So I have no experience when it comes to figuring out if the conversation needs to be had, or even just like how to start the conversation altogether. Please help.
I deeply relate to the college story. I was like, what do you mean? I'm the one being like, let's take it slow. And then suddenly you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for it. I was like, whoa. By the way, I was just kind of going through the motions being like, I feel like it's too, like, I was into it. But okay, so let's do some math. So first date was mid-January. Started talking mid-January.
Mm-hmm.
And then last week of January was the first date. And then since then, you've been seeing each other at least once a week since. So it's been not 2 months.
Mm-mm.
It's been like a month and a half.
Mm-hmm. Not even that yet, but yeah.
So if it's mid-January, I would say you've been talking for 2 months, maybe. Yeah. And you're 23. No, 24. Not that makes a difference. But we do need to know the ages. I mean, so I think that the what are we conversation should never happen in general. I think it should always be, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. Not like, hey, what? Like, because the what are we implies that like both of you are trying to predict what the other one wants, that you think that they want you to say. And like, there's also a little bit of ego in there of like trying to like, I don't want to look like, if she's still seeing people, I don't want to look like I'm like a loser simp or whatever. Like there's a lot of stuff tied up in it. But I think like the time to do it is whenever you would feel uncomfortable if you found out he was seeing other people. Specifically, would you feel uncomfortable if you found out he was sleeping with other people? And if you would feel uncomfortable at this point, then yeah, you need to set a boundary that it's like, this is what I'm interested in. If you're not interested in this, then like I need to dip. But like, I don't think there's a like quote unquote perfect time. But I think there is like at least for me, when I've been with like in like whatever, that like there is a timeline where like I would not feel comfortable sleeping with somebody else. And I would also not, if I found out you were sleeping with someone else, that would hurt. And I think if you're at that place, then it's time to have the conversation. But if you're like, I just think I'm supposed to because we've been talking for a month, but like if I found out he was like sleeping with someone right now, that would be okay. I'm just like I don't have the effort to pursue that. Then, whatever. But it sounds like you would be upset, which is valid. And so I think this is the time to not to ask him what you are, but to be like, hey, I really like you. I would love to like, and I think like be exclusive versus date versus boyfriend. I think like the most adult mature way to do it is to eliminate the steps of like, we're closing off the relationship. Like we're not like all of those things, whatever, to be like, I would like to be in a relationship with just you. I think you can just say something like that and be like, and if that's what you're interested in, like, awesome. If not, that's also okay. But like, I just need to know at this point because like I am invested. And then it's a yes or no. It needs to be a yes or no. He doesn't get a third option because that just drags it along farther for you.
Yeah, I agree. If he said after a couple dates, who else would I ask? I feel like that also your birthday's the day before mine. I feel like that like he's already made up his decision. So
unless he's like a pathological liar.
Right. So just say this is what I want. I agree with everything Meghan has to say. I really don't have much else to add to it. It is scary because you're like, I could be ruining this good thing that we have going on right now if I tell him what I want. But the thing is, it's easier to have that conversation now than next month when you've fallen even more for him. So just say, hey, you've been going out every week. Like unless he's just like going out every day of the week.
Unless he's unemployed and you don't know that.
Then this doesn't feel like something that should be out of left field. It's just like, let's do a 2-month check-in now.
Yeah. And like, my other questions are like, have you met his friends? Has he met your friends? Like, are there other things like that there that have like kind of made it clear? Because like, the what are we conversation usually is just like, we're not gonna sleep with other people. That's usually what that is, but it usually comes along with like, you've already met friends, you've been introduced in a certain way and like whatever that is. But yeah, I think that it's obviously a nerve-wracking conversation, but like Melissa said, like waiting doesn't change his answer. It just, whatever answer he has right now will be the answer he has, I promise you, 6 months from now. It will be the answer he has a year from now. Like that's not going to change. And I think like we have this misconception that for men, like they just need to have more faith in the relate and all that. And I go, a switch flips on in their head for them. And they suddenly go, ready to settle down. And then they meet someone and they settle down immediately. Like, it's not like they have to warm up to the specific person or like any of that. Like it's just not like that. So
yeah, I knew this guy that was with somebody for 20 years, like literally 20 years. And I asked him, I said, are you guys going to get married? And he was like, no, I really don't know. Like marriage really, like, that's not really my thing. And then they broke up and the next person that they were with, he married her within 8 months and they had a kid. Like I like, what if the original person was waiting on having that conversation of my God, are we getting married or not?
Yeah. Like it has nothing to do with us as women, like whatsoever. It is just the mindset of when they're ready. And like, I've seen it in guys who are like pieces of shit and like have strung someone along. But I've also seen it in guys who are like really forthcoming with the fact that they're not looking for a relationship. And then the second they were like, you know what? I think I'm ready to look for a relationship. Dating, girlfriend, engaged in a calendar year. And I've never even seen them have a girlfriend. And I've known them for like almost a decade. Like, it's just like, it's when they're ready. It doesn't matter. Like they don't change for a specific person. It's not one person who like makes them feel this way. It's not that. They're ready. And I don't mean this in like a bad, I don't want it to sound bad or whatever, but it's like, it's not like the people that they're not picking. Like if you're with someone that for like a long time that's like, oh, so they just like, I'm not special. I was the first person. No, it's not what I'm saying at all. But it's just that the way that they approach the relationship is that of, I want this to go somewhere. And so they're also being a completely different person in a relationship. So like when I look at the people who I dated who are like pieces of shit and who they ended up with, and I go, you're without it. No one's marrying that guy, that shitty fucking guy I dated. That girl didn't marry. No, she's not accepting that. Like you are a completely different person because you actually are invested in this and you want this at this point. So it's not about the right timing. And like I've said this to so many friends who've like waited to like ask this question or whatever. And like, I know very attractive straight guys who like told girls on first dates that they were looking for a relationship and they meant that. And like, there is no way to play it cool. You want what you want. And like, that's attractive. And if you don't want that or you don't know what you want, then you say that right off the bat and you find other people who are on your same wavelength. But I don't think you should waste any more time not like wasting any more of your time, but like waste any more of your time building these feelings up for him only to potentially have them crash and burn. But I have high hopes and I hope this man doesn't let me down.
All right, we're going to take another break. When we get back, we'll get into an update.
I'm Dr. Jen Ashton, your host for Season 2 of The Visibility Gap, a podcast presented by Cigna Healthcare. Throughout this season, we'll be tackling something vital, the women's health gap. We'll hear from real people and experts as we unpack important topics like maternal health, menopause, and heart disease. Listen in and download the new season wherever you get your podcasts.
Saturday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Saturday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Saturday. Saturday, bring it on.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
We are back, and it is time for an oop-dat.
Hey, Eminem, just listen to the episode with my write-in, and thank you so much. You guys made me feel better. Some things were left out because I was trying to stick to the word count, so here's an update. So this is the person that wrote in, and they had just moved, and their friend had got them a job at the same place that they worked at, and the friend was being rude at the job, and this person wanted to break up, like, in their friendship over it. You remember?
I think so.
This says, we met later in university. We're both in healthcare, same unit schedule, but people make switches, and we weren't always in the same area of the unit. She doesn't have hiring authority, and she only told me about an opening and told me to email her managers because the unit wasn't specified under general listings. The dig towards me was while we and the coworker were in training, and I was struggling. The coworker had previous experience. An ex, this is ex-friend, that's what they meant. An ex said she didn't know when I brought up her comment and never apologized. Ex and I have had good times, but we didn't see each other much outside of class/clinicals. She was a commuter, and I would go home during breaks and moved to my hometown up until now. Since grad, we'd seen each other once a year. During school, we used to tease each other, but after graduating, I noticed she'd nag me to drink, and then right before she was single, she started doing the other things I mentioned. During the breakup, she claimed that she's been the same person over the years, but she can't say the same about me, aka I changed a lot. That means I had growth, LOL. I've seen her at work since, and she talks to me like nothing happened, so I'm hoping it stays that way. I took her off my socials and distanced myself after she said those things. She texted me 3 days ago asking if I was awake, then didn't answer for 2 days and said she wanted to update me, saying she had a rough few days and hasn't answered since. I still care, but was also nosy, LOL.
Relatable.
Yeah, I'm going to practice better boundaries for myself, though, and not answer next time. Thank you, guys. Love the pod. And you both. Look forward to episodes every week while doing house stuff.
And what was the stuff she was saying to her that she was like in?
She was basically saying that the other person that worked there was doing a better job.
Oh, healthcare. Okay, we didn't know it was in healthcare.
We didn't know it was in healthcare.
Okay, because I was trying to put together what
it
healthcare
was like
called.
Retail or something.
Okay. Yeah. You know, boundaries are great, but this doesn't surprise me that she's the kind of friend of being like pretending that like none of this has like happened. It's just like whatever. I bet she carries all of her friendships at a very surface level sort of thing, but like demands a lot of time and attention. So it's not surface level friendship, but like it is kind of appearance-y friendship.
But also like y'all were only really friends in class and clinical. So if you keep it like that, that's being consistent with how your friendship originally was. So if she wants to act like nothing happened, that's how things used to be. So maybe she's just a person she's just a work friend. She's not, or a classmate previously. She's not the kind of person you want to hang out with after work is over with.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound like she's someone who has friends that she does that with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like, but she is asking for like, especially calling and all of that kind of stuff. Like that's more than I'm willing to give like a class friend or a work friend. But it's because like, then I don't have time to give that to friends who are also reciprocating to be more than just convenience friends to me. Like it's more of a mutually beneficial relationship. So she sounds like someone who's not going to be difficult to keep at arm's distance. But I think the only difficult thing for me, I deeply relate to, is being chronically nosy. And if they are entertaining, I would, unfortunately, if I think it's going to be good, I'm probably picking up the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I had a friend that always had some tale that was going on. And they were emotionally exhausting, but I loved hearing their stories until I didn't.
Yep.
And then, like we just became distant because I can't keep up with that exhausting relationship, especially when it's one-sided.
And also at a certain point, you start to realize that it's like they think everything in their life is like crazy, wild, and interesting. And so then it's like, okay, some of these were hidden. Some of these were good. Some of these were Risa Tisa. But then other ones of these are day in my life. Like they're just not the same level of importance or drama that like you just start to get exhausted. Or I've had this too where I go, actually, don't think you're being totally honest. Like I think you're kind of fudging.
This person that I was talking about, I literally told Megan, I was like, I think they're lying about this, but it's funny. But then one time we were having a conversation for like 4 hours and they were mad that somebody had gotten like more likes on a post than they did. And it was a 4-hour long conversation. And that was the beginning of the end.
And you're like, this is actually not, we don't live in the same reality.
No.
And like, I have a hard time pretending to care.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when you want the same level of like, oh my God, no way. Like, you're right. Like hyping you up kind of a thing. Like, I don't have time for that. You should make a vlog.
Mm-hmm. Or a journal. What's wrong with journals?
I think she likes attention though. And unfortunately, journals don't give you attention. And the vlog can tell her, I think you're delusional.
Or nobody's looking at it.
Which should help her hopefully realize maybe this isn't that entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that doesn't always work that way though.
All
okay.
Right. Well, that is our episode.
We hope you all enjoyed. If you want to call in, write in, submit all the same things we said at the top of the episode, please do. We would love to hear from you. And if you were a call or a submission aired on this episode or a previous one and you want to give us an update, you can reach out same ways. Love to hear from you. And stay tuned for the rest of our content, which is
on Friday, we have Fisting Friday. Then you get, the weekend to hang out with friends or just listen to us and then your other friends. And then on Monday, we've got But Am I Wrong? Tuesday, see you next Tuesday. Wednesday, that's your catch-up day. And then Thursday, we'll be back here for Don't Blame Me.
Join our Patreon. You can watch the video versions of the podcast. You can also listen ad-free. And we also do live streams twice a month. So fun, make some new friends. If you've moved to a new area or you've just gone through like a friendship transition or, looking to get out of your bubble. Or also sometimes people will like quite literally join the live stream while they're like getting ready to go out and like we'll meet their other friends or like their roommates or whatever. Like it's very low key, very low stakes.
Or use it as, that noise in the background while they're going to sleep.
Yeah. Like you will see people asleep. You will see people making dinner. Some people participating in hobbies. Sometimes you will see a black screen and we will have to mute them because they have joined while they're driving home from work and they've put us in their cup holder and they forgot to turn the sound off. And so we mute it for them and they just get to like listen. And then up to like we've had people like walking home from class or work or whatever. Like you will see people in all ways. And it's a great way to meet people. We have people from quite literally all over the world. And we have, I think, yet to have someone come in who is like the only person from
their area.
Yeah, that area. And so people like will actually meet up in real life. And it's a very good time. So join.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
This is a Sister Sign production hosted by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent. And I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Have you ever heard about the 19th century French actress with so many lovers that they formed a lovers' union? Or what about the Aboriginal Australian bandit who faked going into labor just to escape the police, which she did escape from them. It was a great plan. How about the French queen who murdered her rival with poison gloves? I'm Ann Foster, host of the feminist women's history comedy podcast, Vulgar History. Every week, I share the saga of a woman from history whose story you probably didn't already know, and you will never forget after you hear it. Sometimes we re-examine well-known people like Cleopatra or Pocahontas, sharing the truth behind their legends. Sometimes we look at the scandalous women you'll never find in a history textbook. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get podcasts. And if you're curious, the people I was talking about before, the Australian woman is named Marianne Bugg, and the French actress was named Rochelle, no last name, just Rochelle. And the queen who poisoned her rival is Catherine de Medici. I have episodes about all of them.
What's up, fellow TV watchers? It's Brian from The Core Podcast, where we cover all things Apple TV+. We are wrapping up our recaps of Emmy favorite Severance, but 2025 on Apple TV Plus is just getting started. In April and May, The Core is recapping Seth Rogen's new Hollywood satire, The Studio, and Jon Hamm's dark comedy, Your Friends and Neighbors. We'll also be recapping the first 2 seasons of Apple's sci-fi thriller, Foundation, heading into the 3rd season of that later this year. Search for The Core, all things Apple TV Plus, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.